I trust everybody can see the screen that I'm sharing, which is the presentation. Um, and probably my screen up in the corner, video, I guess. So let me start. So first of all, actually, there's a disclaimer and and the agenda for tonight. We're going to talk a little detail about the 2026 draft Newtown Township budget. Several people are interested in that. Uh, the 2026 road paving program should have been road paving program, not proposal, but it's proposed to pave certain number of roads. Fire services non-agreement with the borough. Give you a little bit about that. Um, uh, a short review summary of the October 22nd Board of Supervisors meeting. And the major topic would be the Fountain Farm Lane parking problem, which I'm going to be discussing with residents in a separate uh, Zoom meeting. And then I might reveal my plans for what I'm doing after my term is up at December 31st. And after the presentation, we'll open it up for discussion. So the budget. There's a lot here to digest. It was hung October 26th. Um, and it has to be advertised for 20 days before it could be adopted. The next board meeting will be around, what is it, November 12th or so on a Wednesday. And that won't be 20 days after it was, so we can't vote it in at that meeting. It'd have to be in December. So there's time for people to make comments. Um, and so let's look at a little bit of it in a little detail. And the next slide, some important points. It's running at a deficit. The expenses projected are more than the revenues. So there's a deficit of over $3 million. And how do you make that up? Well, that's made up by the what was the balance of last year, uh, so that be able to use that balance to pay the deficit. And projected at the end of this, there's going to be a smaller balance at the end of 2026. And we're getting into some territory there where, the balance you need to have in order for unexpected expenses. Um, There'll be a property tax increase or proposed, let me say, not will be, proposed tax increase of about 4 mils, exactly. There were a couple of 1.5 new personnel hires proposed, a full-time IT director and a part-time HR director. And just to let you know, 2 new firefighters were hired in 2025. You know that our fire department and the Newtown Fire Department, not the volunteers, operates 7 days a week now from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The road program, I'm going to have a little bit to say about that. I'm really not happy about this. 1.85 miles proposed. And there's a little problem with that proposal I have to get into. There's capital purchases of this dump truck and 4 new police vehicles. Always the police vehicles. Um, so why the property tax increase? Well, it's mostly for emergency services, so fire protection, 3 mills to support the salaries, benefits, and and the salaries, especially after the federal grant that we have to support the salaries of 3 new firefighters from 2024. Um, that's going to expire in 2026. So the township needs money to keep these firefighters um, hired. The rescue squad asked us for 1 mil of increase. The ambulance squad for they want a new ambulance and rising operational costs. Now I have lots of notes here with these slides, and after the presentation, uh, after the Zoom meeting, I'll be able to send out the whole presentation to everybody with the notes, which I hope you find useful. The year-end total fund balance. This is a issue because as you can see in 2026, the balance would be near about $2 million, which is about 12.2% of total expenses. Now, good accounting practices really call for 25% of a balance to handle, some emergencies, but we're only required, we've voted in to only have the 10%, so it's above the minimum 10% that we have allowed, but it's still not good um, practices as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not an economic expert, so I'll have to leave that up to other people. The road program, again, they were budgeted for 850,000. You get this from the Highway Aid Fund, which is where it comes from the, I guess, state taxes we pay when we buy gas. If you get electric vehicles, you don't pay any money into that. Plus money from the general fund. Now, with 71 miles of roads, you really should be paving about 3.5 miles per year just to stay where you are in terms of the quality of our roads. And this budget only proposes 1.85 miles. Now, when this goes out, there's a base bid and an alternate bid. And I've been looking at these numbers. I did some notes. I've been using Chat GPT to help me understand this, and the numbers don't add up. Chat GPT estimates actually that with the roads that were listed in this, and I'll show you those roads in the next slide, but Chat GPT, these are some of the roads here. I'm going to pass over these pretty quickly. ChatGPT says that when you add these roads up, I'm talking about the ones in red, the base bid roads and the alternate roads, it's more like 2 miles of roads. So I don't know how, it's more like 2.4 miles of roads, actually. If it's interesting, you can feed Chat GPT these maps, the same maps that these images come from the map that the engineers have made. I'll send you these slides, or you'll see what the roads are. But these maps were prepared by the engineers, And so I'm using those maps, feeding it into ChatGPT, and the descriptions that were given to me of where the roads start and where they end. And ChatGPT can look at maps and tell you how many miles that is. And when you add it all up, it's more like 2.4 miles instead of 1.85. So I have to clarify that at the next Board of Supervisors meeting. I can't imagine that the Public Works Department made a mistake in adding things up, but you never know. But looking at their numbers, 1.85 or 1.9 miles of roads, and here's the trend, which is very, very disturbing, I must say. For the last 3 years, I think the average has been around, I don't know, what about it? It's about 2 miles, 2 point something miles per year, which is way below what we need to be doing. And so if this trend continues, I think it's going to, you're going to see more and more roads that are not in good condition. So that's the road issue. You'll see the details in the notes when I distribute this after the meeting. Regarding the 22nd of October Board of Supervisors meeting, this is where the budget was discussed, the road paving program, which I just summarized. There were some public comments, very interesting, had to do with the uh, parking enforcement along Fountain Farm Lane. We'll get into that next slide. And the Newtown Sewer Authority, the MBCJMA, I'm not going to get into what that stands for, but it's the sewer authority in terms of claims are made that they are not being very transparent regarding the future plans for the land that they had planned to use to create a sewage treatment plant, which the board of directors, the board of supervisors advised them that we are opposed, that the board of supervisors, the current board of supervisors, is opposed and wants them to stop building, not to build that plant. There's a lot of history here, which I'm not going to get into, but claims were made that the sewer authority only stopped the plan. It didn't end the plan, so we'll see. There was talk about the storage facility where there was going to be an apartment in there, which is not permitted. Again, the zoning. We have lots of developers coming in wanting variances from the zoning, and the Board of Supervisors were against that apartment, and the applicant did withdraw that request. The fire services agreement with Newtown Borough is still missing in action. Um, we wrote about that. I wrote about that a lot in other things. You'll see more from my notes. Now, the Fountain Farm Lane parking problem. This was at a previous meeting and by email, residents from Newtown Gate Development, which abuts this road, um, have complained. They complained about these cars parked across the fog line, which technically in Pennsylvania is illegal. And as a result of those complaints, the Newtown police have been issuing a few parking tickets, and this was a big surprise to a lot of residents of Newtown Gate. I don't want to get into all the details here. Again, I'll show some information from my notes. One thing at a meeting I did at the chief did show there was some data about how fast cars travel on this road. There were other complaints about speeding on this road and pedestrian safety as a result of that. And the data shows that the average speed along that road is about 25 miles per hour, which is the speed limit. But if the average is 25, I guess half the cars that are being measured are going above that speed limit. And so maybe there's some issue there with speeding. But regard to the parking, well, you can see here uh, why there's a need. It could be a car. You can see that white car there having to go across the double yellow just to get around this truck, which other residents have pointed out is uh, constantly parked there. Uh, some residents offered some solutions to this, and I can show you that in the next slide. And I suggested a special Zoom meeting to discuss these options. And me and Supervisor Fisher will be available at this meeting on Wednesday. We're just inviting the Newtown Gate residents, and hopefully we'll be able to have some solution because they don't like the ticketing, which for 35 years they say nobody has ever been ticketed, and all of a sudden, without warning, they start getting tickets. Um, I just want to show one of the residents had this diagram map showing where he thought there could be safe parking somehow. There needs to be more pedestrian crossings, um, better signage. So we're all going to be able to discuss that and hopefully come to some kind of resolution. It's a very tough subject here. Um, Supervisor Fisher, this is fake images created by ChatGPT, just showing a couple of guys walking down Fountain Farm Lane. Uh, Dennis, Mr. Fisher met with Mr. Rimba, who is on the board of HOA board of the Newtown Gate. And they were talking about various options like removing the fog lines, which may or may not be legal, convert grassy areas and or detention basin to parking lots. That doesn't sound right. Um, the HOA might be able to negotiate an arrangement for parking in the quarters where the condo apartments are, which right now the association forbids that kind of parking. So it's a problem for people in the townhouses um, because there's very limited parking in that area. And talking about at least having some kind of moratorium during the holidays. So that's my review. And the last thing I had here, since I'm going to be off the Board of Supervisors in the end of December, um, I need to have some plans. What am I going to be doing? Well, there's always the family. We have grandchildren now, and so that's very. We can spend a lot more time with. I can spend a lot more time with our grandchildren. I hope to continue my website and by attending meetings and making public comments at meetings, writing my newsletter to keep people informed. It's like the alternative to the patch, basically, and getting information from different sources to supply to residents. I might continue my comedy. Uh, I did a few routines already. This deep dive podcast series. Now that's something that Google's Notebook LM AI does a wonderful job at. I mean, it's very, very interesting. The last thing it might be is to write my memoirs. So now that I gave my presentation, open it up for discussion. I think um, everybody should be able to um, unmute themselves. Can I do that? I don't know. I'm asking people to unmute if you want and just holler out. Anybody got any questions?
Hey,
Charlie,
John.
who's this, Eric?
Yeah.
Hi, Eric.
What? y- Oh, go ahead, Charlie.
Well,
Hi.
Eric, go ahead. You go first.
Well, I have a question about this fire services agreement because obviously we're going to take the 3 mil hit to support increased costs related to fire service. And I know there's been this, back and forth with the borough over how much they wish to contribute to having the township provide coverage at certain times. Where are we with this? I mean, you said missing in action, but I mean, is everybody? Is just everyone dug in? Is that where we are? I mean, don't we?
Well,
From my understanding, is if we don't reach an agreement, the contract ends at the end of the year, right?
correct. If, what we, I think, plan to do is discussed this at a previous meeting where Mr. Calabro wanted them to pay 330,000 a year. They only were willing to pay like starting next year at 225 or something like that. So it's very far away from each other. We propose to actually more like 275,000 over a 3-year period per year. They didn't like that. They refused that. And so we discussed at the last meeting, well, maybe 3 years. So let's just do it for 1 year so that we can move on. And let's see if they would do 275,000 for just 1 year, and then we'd start the process of negotiating when there's a new Board of Supervisors. I don't know if we haven't voted on that yet. We would just discuss this at a work session meeting. That's what was discussed. And I think the plan is to have our solicitor write them a letter suggesting that. And we could see if they go for that. I don't know. That's all I know. Did I answer your question?
I guess partially.
I
I mean,
mean,
I wonder what's the real cost and what would be their proportionate share? I mean, obviously they think they shouldn't pay as much. Calabro's claiming he would think. Does he think the 330,000 is the right number in terms of if you take the cost of providing fire protection service to the township and make it? I don't know what the formula is, but for me, it's just arithmetic. It's per capita. You go in, every person gets fire protection coverage. So you add our number of people with their number of people, you divide that by the total cost, and you get a number. And then you multiply that number by their number of people, and that's what they owe. I mean,
well,
am I way too simplistic here?
no, fire services also involve other things like invest, with businesses, and they have lots of businesses as
Mm.
well,
Yeah.
things like that. But there were it started out with various arguments about how do you determine it? What are the formulas? And I don't want to get into that now. I mean, it's like
Right.
I really don't understand it. If I had Chat GPT back then, I would ask Chat GPT to summarize it and I could better understand it. I might have some more information that I can share when I send out this presentation. Uh,
Yeah.
I'll have to look back at my notes, but it's like uh, no matter what the formula is, um, I think most of the supervisors feel that the borough does not want to pay a fair share, whatever the
Well,
calculation is.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I don't want to drag this out, but it would just seem like if we're going to take a 3 mil hit to cover fire services, is it fair to ask us to be underwriting a percentage of free riding by the borough? And is that, and I would think that as representatives of us, our Board of Supervisors should be representing the taxpayers in the township, who you're going to vote on a budget to increase our taxes. And if they're not willing to pay their fair share, that just seems a bit unfair.
well, yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. I mean, the problem obviously is less the volunteer fire services are not dependable, let's say. It's very difficult now to have volunteer firefighters. And so the township has decided to hire, they started out with a grant, which is fine. It covered these, I think it was three new firefighters so that we can go to, we didn't have to depend upon the volunteer fire department on the weekends. And obviously, there are other fire departments that help out as well. But now that we have from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. coverage, even on the weekends from paid firefighters, we have, it's going to be a lot more expensive, especially when that grant runs out. On top of that, there's new fire equipment truck that has to be purchased, and we're putting money into that. I think, I can't, don't quote me on everything about the borough, but they do uh, supply money to the volunteer fire department and uh, other for equipment and so on. So it's not like they're not paying anything. It's just that we would like them to pay more towards our paid fire department to help keep to help keep them so that the paid firefighters so that they're assured coverage. Otherwise, we can't afford the whole thing. Uh, I got maybe there's some details on where that 3 mills is going to be going, but a big part of it might be towards the truck and making sure we can pay for the firefighters that we currently have down the road. I'm sorry I can't answer
And I don't
you.
want to monopolize the conversation. Thank you. I appreciate what you're letting me know. So,
All
but
right.
that's
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, pursuant to Eric's line of questioning, it raises in my mind, I haven't heard any discussion. What is the borough going to do if they don't reach an accord with the township on fire services Monday through Friday, 9 to 6? They rely on just their volunteers. And so
Well,
what is their option if they don't come to an accord with Newtown Township Fire Service?
okay, look, from my point of view, if there's a fire, it's going to be answered by paid firefighters. If they're on duty, they're going to do that. I don't care what the agreement is with the borough. You can't say, okay, don't go out on that call. They didn't pay anything. That's not going to happen. So in a sense, they're gambling on that, Uh, like I had a saying in Brooklyn, uh, firefighters always come. So, that's how it is. That's how it should be. And there's other fire departments locally that might handle some calls, even if the volunteer fire department is not available. So, you can't say, well, if you don't pay, you don't get any services. That's not going to be how it works, really. So, in a sense, the township is over a little barrel here with this. Um, but what's going to might happen with residents of the borough, I've been told at meetings, is that the fire insurance might, you know, the insurance companies might have an issue if they don't have an agreement with the township. I'm not sure about that though.
I mean, I guess one other option they would have would be to rely upon their volunteer fire company that's right on Washington Street.
Yeah, but most of the firefighters don't even live in Newtown.
Well, I know that's why
They
it's
have to
such
get to they have to get to that fire company. They don't sit there, like our firefighters are on duty all the time and they're ready to go out. Volunteers have to be called in and they have to get to the department there and get ready and then go out. So it takes them a little bit longer, but if it's a local fire, well, that's okay. I guess they don't have far to go to do something, and I just don't
and
know.
add to that, when our full-time paid firefighters are not on duty, Newtown Township is relying on the volunteer fire department to step up, right?
Yes, and they have done that in the past. I think there was an incident, and but also the other local fire departments, Northampton, I guess, and other municipalities are close by, will be able to step in as well, depending upon what's needed. Um, Luckily, I know there was at least one death from a fire not too long ago in the township, I believe. And I don't know if that really had anything to do with the response time, but luckily, we've been had some pretty good coverage, I think. So,
Yeah, thanks. It seems like such a hazy topic because lines of responsibility aren't clear cut. So that's why I was just asking more questions along Mr. Pomerantz's.
yeah, I mean, you'd have to get more of an expert opinion on that. You should talk to Chief Forsyth. He can tell you more reliable information about how it all works and what the consequences might be. I know he's not happy with what's going on, but we'll have to see what goes on there.
Right. And other comments I had with regard to the budget are, the full-time IT person and HR director part-time, and add to that the vehicles for police. I've been to the BOS meetings and I go because I want to hear what the budget proposal is, but there's no discussion or justification presented. So I've heard you say that the next BOS meeting, that's the opportunity for full discussion of every item on the budget.
Right. Well, we did a couple of supervisors, not all of us, met with the manager, assistant manager, and the police chief, and so on, to ask those kinds of questions. And what I was told about the IT manager, it sounded like It has a lot to do with the police department in terms of their IT needs. And it also has something to do with, the management of other IT resources and protection against, what do you call it when they come in, outsiders come in and try to prevent services, that kind of thing. They need to be more cyber security. I don't know what else the IT manager would do all year long. Uh, so they do have one IT person who's a complete, you know, not up to the task, let's say. She's not a IT expert, and I think there's more need for some real expertise in handling the complicated IT that's required, especially for the police department. I don't know if they're gearing up to, there's, lots of data coming in, lots of use of computers to track incidents and so on. I'm just not sure, what's needed there. That'd be some good questions to ask. The police cars are always, every year, four cars, four cars. I think maybe the police chief can get along with just two new cars. Why four? Especially these expenses, especially at the cost of road repair. That money could be used to get up to that 3.5 miles of roads from one, 2 to 2.5 that we have now. We need at least another mile of roads to be repaired next year. And they keep on giving me this crap about, oh, some roads are wider than others, and that's why the mileage is low. Well, that's a lot of BS, I think. Miles are miles. Let's just do it. Um, so we need to get more money into road work is what I am going to be interested in, trying to find. And I think if we get rid of, and that tow truck, and not tow truck, the dump truck. I don't know. So, what I have to do, why do they need a new dump truck? So I was told that the Public Works director will be there and can answer these questions at the next meeting. He's usually a kind of no-show, never hear from him. But hopefully that's true. I've been told by the chair that that person will be there and be able to ask him a question. Why do we need this dump truck? And
Right,
that's another $250,000. That's a mile of roads right there, almost.
exactly. Yeah, well, thank you for addressing those things. And the other area that I had questions or wanted to raise an example is road paving.
Yeah.
Unless, I'm sorry, does Teresa or someone else want to
Yeah, I
the
just mentioned road
I
paving,
d-
Kelly. Did you have another question about that?
yes, what the point I was going to make is what I learned about road paving from last year. You remember when we were trying to get the grant funding for the crosswalk at Tara and at down on Sycamore. And what I noticed in the budget proposal last year was that Mr. Lewis, we had applied for a grant to get full payment from PennDOT for both of those crosswalk projects. But in the budget proposal, Mr. Lewis presented part of his justification for the millage increase as the crosswalk projects. And I went to public comment and I said,
Whoa, whoa,
well,
whoa. Wait, I didn't hear that. You heard that?
if you go back and look at the budget proposal for last year, and so the explanation from Mr. Lewis was, if we get the PennDOT grant to do the crosswalks, then the part of the justification in the budget is if we don't get the grants, then we can do the crosswalks. And I said, but looks like PennDOT, what if we do get it? And Mr. Lewis said, then those funds are at the discretion of the Board of Supervisors. And I said, for things such as road paving.
Oh, okay. So you're talking
And he,
about the 2025 budget?
yes, I'm learning.
Okay.
I learned from last year. And what I wanted to explain to everyone is the reason why they have a base bid for paving for 2026 and an alternate bid is because they will use funds that aren't spent for other things that are in the budget. And that was an example, the crosswalk project.
Well, that $850,000 is not all from Penn's the PA. It's liquid funds,
Liquid
fuel
fuels,
fund.
liquid fuels.
What I'm saying is, regardless of the liquid fuel funds, that's in the budget. What
Yeah, but there's money from the general fund, and maybe Mr. Lewis is going to say, well, that money from the general fund is available because we're not spending it on the crosswalk. Okay.
and they'll use it to spend on the alternate bid part of the road paving.
Well, whatever, they have $850,000 allocated. Maybe half of it comes from the general fund. And regardless of, the alternate versus base, they already have money from the general fund, and he could say, well, where do you think that money came from? It came from we're not spending it on the crosswalk.
Well, precisely, and it would be nice if the public all knew where the money was coming from. Mr.
Well,
Lewis needs to
all you
explain
can
it.
say is that it's coming from the general fund and from the liquid fuel fund grant. And the fuel fund is it goes up and down, or it's not
Doesn't look like it's
dependable.
changed much.
Teresa, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna comment that, doesn't look like that's changed much over the last, couple of years. That funding from the liquid fuels, tax, that's surprising to me. I don't know what's behind that.
Well, it
If they're
depends.
taking money from general fund, um, that should be in
Yes.
this, I'm looking for it. It should be in this budget. It's not just, it shouldn't be just random. That should be in here. Yeah, I should disclose, I used to work for Newtown Township, so,
Ah, okay. Well, maybe you can help me understand it myself. So,
yeah,
uh,
I'm digging through, I'm mostly distressed about that 4 mil increase. Yeah, I mean, they've jumped our taxes an awful lot over the last several years. Um, yeah, the police cars, the 22 years I worked for the township, they never approved all the police cars. So that's up to you guys, that's up to you, John, and the supervisors. You don't have to say yes to all 4 cars. That's never happened. It never happened when I worked there. They
right.
never approved all the police cars.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
comment about the ghost cars, all the ghost cars that I see. I drive around Newtown all the time, it's crazy to me. They can have cars sitting on the side of the road as a ghost car, but they need to buy 4 more cars. There's a lot of things that distress me.
I
Um,
guess they figure that those are not roadworthy, or they are not
yeah,
dependable. I'm not
but
sure.
but they're paying insurance for them. I'm just saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of stuff. Just saying. Um, yeah, just crazy. Yeah, I'm trying to, I need to spend a little more time finding um the, the additional money that's going to go to the road paving.
All right, if
And
you
and I
when you
wasn't clear of what you were just saying about a PennDOT grant. Did we get it? Did we not get it? Um,
the PennDOT grant from,
For what were you saying, crosswalks?
yeah, that was
Did,
a special grant.
mhm.
Charlie could say more about that, but
And if we did get it, then it would be, you can't use it for something else. That,
that's right.
I'm pretty certain that if you get a grant for something specific, like the county DCD, it's gotta be used for what it was, what
No,
it was
Charlie,
supposed.
Charlie wasn't
Yeah,
suggesting that that money be
okay.
used.
I mean, I heard somebody say something, oh, well, maybe they'll use that instead.
No,
No,
well,
it wouldn't work like that.
he was saying there was money allocated in the budget
Hmm.
for those crosswalks in case we did not get a grant.
Okay, got
So,
it.
so
Okay,
what
I got it.
Charlie was
Okay,
saying,
okay,
that money
okay,
that we had
thanks.
put aside for the
Yeah, thanks for
crosswalk
clarifying that.
now should
Okay,
be used for something else.
yeah,
I
yeah, and
think,
I
Yes,
saw,
that's
you know,
exactly, Teresa, how
mhm,
Micah Lewis justified the millage increase in taxes last year. He used the crosswalk project as
mhm,
one of the justifiers in case we didn't get the grant. And I said,
mhm.
well, you're double dipping here, but
Yeah,
your points are really well taken, Teresa, in that
I,
Mr. Lewis presents this budget. It's so vague. And
mhm.
if no
And
one from the public or the township gets up and says, we
I know.
need specifics, how
Yes,
many
yes.
miles do
Well,
you get out of the police
I,
cars? How many do you have?
right,
And
right.
because they just throw out this fluff,
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. It's like
I
what
agree
they,
with
you
you.
have to understand, this is like what they want. This is what the department heads want. And they go to Micah and they push for whatever it is that they want. And police is probably probably everybody knows that already, that police is going to be the department that's going to push for the most. Fire's behind, I would say, and then public works, but you don't have to, the supervisors don't have to say yes. They don't have to approve the budget. I've been there years where the budget didn't get approved until the very end of December. It was like the very end of the year. Yeah, I can't ever recall them approving all the police cars. Like I said, I decided, to get back interested in seeing. I took a look at last year's budget. I wasn't thrilled, but I didn't make any comments about it. Um, but yeah, you don't have to approve it. You don't, I mean, I'm sure you guys already, John,
sure.
you already know that.
Yeah,
Um,
we have negotiated things like that. And if you
yeah, they're
have,
going to just push, they're going to push for,
yeah,
whatever they want. And, yeah, I mean, I know that, the way that it worked when I was there, Micah would, have discussions with the department heads and basically limit them, to, how much they could push to, actually put into this proposed budget. Um, it kind of bothered me too in the department descriptions. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want to say about that HR director. You have a manager, an assistant manager, a finance director. We never had an HR person. The other person on my team um, handled HR. I handled some HR. Why can't the people that are there get some training and learn how to handle the HR? That's a little bit beyond me. I have a lot more to say about that. And then I want to know why in department descriptions, there's nothing about the technology manager described there. I saw it in the budget, the 110,000. And once again, we did have a technology manager for many, many years, and they've needed one for a very, very long time in my belief anyway. And they just never got anyone to replace the technology manager from many, many years ago. Um, yeah, I would like to know what's going to what expenses are going to be eliminated if they do have a technology manager, because they've been paying companies for years to be technology support, from the outside. Anyway,
those are good questions. So, do you plan to come to the next meeting or?
I don't know. It's real hard for me. Michael Lewis was my boss.
Well,
So, I
Teresa,
might.
I'm going to invite you and anybody else to come up with your list of
Yeah,
questions. Send them to
yeah.
me. I'll ask them.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I mean, they won't have me
But
to kick around
did
anymore.
you
So,
notice that though? Did you notice that, John? That, they have the management, you see the $110,000 in the 2026 budget line for technology management. But they made no mention of it, in the descriptions where, the department descriptions where they, made comment about,
well, yeah, we did discuss it though.
but why
Uh,
didn't they put it in there? Like why didn't they bring attention to it?
well,
Is so that
the good question
Yeah.
to ask, like
It's
you
like it
said,
was like it was missed. It's like, why didn't they put a line for technology department with with the intent of, trying to hire a technology manager?
well,
I don't know,
yeah,
just weird.
what's the
It's
technology?
also in, it shows you director on the department staffing. So these are basically what I'm going to say are mistakes that I'm seeing. Department staffing, the technology line shows director one, but what happened to the support staff? Like, are they getting rid of the support staff? It's in the budget. So I'm just saying, it's like, where's the support staff line for there? It's just weird.
Okay,
They're just, I think mistakes. They're just mistakes.
yeah,
But they haven't told Beth she's leaving.
Yeah, no, I'm just, I used to do this budget, so I'm just being extra picky, I guess.
you're an expert at reading the budget. I'm not,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but
I don't know if I want to call myself an expert. It's a lot of experience.
but you got some interesting questions to ask
Yeah,
about.
yeah, fight back a little.
Well, what does
See,
the
I couldn't
IT?
do that when I worked there because I was also a resident. It was very hard. It was really hard working there, and I almost felt like that. Being a resident, and they knew that I was. Maybe they reined some things in. It seems like things have gotten a little carried away since I've been there. The
Yeah,
spending.
okay.
I see a lot of
I would
spending going
say
on.
amen to that, Teresa. Your questions, your experience are invaluable. And it's exactly, I'll tell you what I want to hear. And I think everyone else wants to hear.
Yeah,
That's why I say, okay, how many police cars do you have? How many miles are on them? Why
yeah.
four? They don't give
Well,
us any. And for
well,
you
you
to
should
make
be able
for
to.
you to make a statement that things seem to have gotten a lot more loosey goosey since you
Just
was.
a lot more money's being spent on. I don't know. Those salaries last year really ticked me off. I don't know, still ticking me off. What was that
Yeah.
about?
Ah, yeah,
Explain that to
that's
me. What was that about? Nobody
17%
got raises
increase.
like
Yeah.
that when I worked there. Nobody, no management
Yeah,
got raises
and
like that.
they don't even have an annual performance review.
Yeah, they did. You know what? They did many,
Not
many, many years
anymore,
ago.
right,
No,
John?
no, no.
That's
Really,
right.
we're talking
Yeah.
back in the early 2000s. I haven't seen, I didn't have any kind of review at all. Yeah, a lot of stuff that used to go on there stopped that I didn't
Yeah.
agree with, but, yeah. Uh,
Well, it's very
Anyway,
important, Teresa.
I know
yeah,
there might
just,
be some other questions. Dave, are you interested in asking a question? Dave, best
I'm good,
friend?
John. I was just hanging out tonight, but I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Um, yeah, so questions about, I mean, I did a quiz on the what people know about the budget, and it was very bad, very bad.
oh, yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah,
I just have
I
to say
I,
that.
uh, I could show you
Yeah.
the results, but uh, if you're interested, let me see if I can bring that up. I don't know.
Look, John,
Yeah,
it's more, I think the important message here from everyone that's spoken is we need to push back on
yeah.
this budget and ask for real justification for everything in it. And if they can't provide that, I say we drag it out to the last possible second because they can't just run roughshod because no one's paying attention. You got
Well,
people here.
we're gonna have to get three people to on the board to work together on that, and I'm not sure if I can do that, but I'm certainly willing to ask these difficult questions and
I mean,
Uh,
they shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, I ran a budget in college and I had more detail than what I'm hearing this one has.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It does not have a lot of detail. It's, we should be able to find out how many police cars. That should be a simple question that, we can ask. Um,
Okay. Well, I'll be
there's,
asking a lot of questions based on this discussion, but if you have other questions and you can't attend the meeting yourself, let me know. And basically, sometimes I can ask questions before the meeting so that I can get actual links to details and share it with people. But it's good to get these out into the open. Sometimes, for example, if I were at a Board of Supervisors meeting and I asked the chief, well, how many cars do we have over 100,000 miles? Something like that. He may not have that data available. I have to ask him before the meeting. And so send me your questions as soon as possible, and then we can ask them at the meeting and get the right answers at the meeting
yeah,
in the
yeah.
public domain, rather than him just answering me by email. You know what I mean? Um, so,
And John, is a budget discussion on the agenda for the next BOS meeting?
oh,
Would that,
definitely. Yeah. I mean, the
Mm.
agenda hasn't been written yet, but
right,
I know it's going to be on the agenda, a major point of discussion. So don't worry about that. But
well, I'm planning on being there.
okay, we got a seat reserved for you, Charlie.
And Teresa and Eric,
I'm
we all
looking at
need to
this.
be.
When I worked for the township, and it's just a couple of years ago, I just retired, near the end of 2021. I worked, I guess, part of 2022 also part-time. Um, you know, no millage went to general fund. It was totally funded. Yeah, this is like that. I can't believe this tax increase over the years. I mean, it's just crazy. Um, Seems like they should be able to get a handle on it in some other way, but I don't know.
Well, we still are competitive with other towns in the area in terms of the number of mills.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have
Mm.
always had that table showing you that we may be, we're not the highest.
Right, right.
We're
And
not,
a big problem with Newtown Township is they didn't raise taxes for a lot of years, when they should have been raising the taxes, in the, 15 or so years ago. I'd have to like look and see, what years. But
yeah, maybe.
but yeah, four is a lot. That's what I think. But
Yeah,
um
and the thing is like the managers wanted to hire more people, they're not
yeah,
having
yeah.
any salary increase this year because they had a 17% last year.
And
But
I know from, talking to some of the employees, that I'm still in touch with, with this grant, and I was paying attention to that, over the last couple of years, and, they hired these extra fire guys, and I understand the need for it because they have not been able to get volunteers. That's going way back. I mean, for a lot of years, but, you know, the consideration that how are they going to support these, salaries after the grant ran out. It's just, just seems
well,
crazy.
yeah, that's
I just didn't seem like from people I talked to back, a couple of years ago, it didn't seem like that was too much of a consideration. I don't know. Yeah, it's just you got to be like thinking ahead, looking ahead.
well, there's two ways. One is to raise the millage, and one is to increase developments because it was already mentioned at the last meeting about the new development on 413 by
13.
Toll Brothers.
Hmm.
where there are $2 million homes being built, not all of them 2 million, but bringing in a significant amount of real estate
Tax
taxes
revenue, earned
and
income tax
earned
revenue, right?
income tax.
Yep.
And so there'd be more pressure to have these developments. So I know I'm not happy with overdevelopment in Newtown.
Mm.
And then you're not also happy with the millage increase. So there's only
Yeah.
limited number of ways in which the township could raise money,
Mhm.
but we want to see it used to the best purposes. Now, for me,
Right, right. Pay attention to like all these expenses, right? Yeah.
yeah, to me, raising salaries 17% was not the best way to use tax money.
No, what was behind that? I mean, I,
Because Micah wanted to be competitive with other township managers, and then he has to have a higher salary than the police chief. And it
yeah,
goes on and on.
that's what I heard from, yeah, that's what I heard
It
from,
goes on
yeah.
and on like that. And then the staff only gets a 3% increase.
Exactly, right. Well, because a good amount of the staff, that work, um, that aren't the department heads, the exempt people are in a union, so they're limited, um, by the union contract.
I
But,
guess.
you got to keep in mind, when you raise their salaries, you're raising the matches to their 401 and, everything. And it's like a lot, that's a lot of money. It's just a lot of money. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces, that,
But
that
the
go up
best
against it.
thing, the only thing I could do is ask the right questions. And so I appreciate
Yeah,
feedback
yeah,
I'm getting, and anything more I can get, I'll be
right,
sure
right.
to ask. And, I am ready to, I don't want to tell you how I'm going to vote because I guess I shouldn't be doing that. But, I feel like you feel about the number of police cars, about the uh, needing to explain why we need to hire certain people,
Right,
about the
right.
need for a dump truck, why.
Yeah.
I was going to go back. They'll
Well,
make an argument that you'll have to pay it. It's going to
yeah,
require maintenance, a lot more maintenance. So I have to look over the maintenance
yeah,
records. I mean, I'm not
yeah.
equipped to do that.
Well, they should be able to tell you public works. They should, I mean, there's not that many trucks, the really, really
Yeah.
big dump
So
trucks. They
I'll
should be
have
able
to
to,
ask the
and
right questions.
typically in public works, at least, like I said, when I was there, it, the trucks, they were pretty old. They didn't really push to replace something until it was like really, really, really old.
So
And we're
maybe
talking like
there's a
20 years,
justification. Maybe there's a
exact.
justification.
So it would be good to know, um, how old are all the trucks that they currently have? Are they getting rid of a truck or are they just adding a truck?
Yeah, right.
I see the road program in the general fund too, the $350,000,
Yeah.
that's budgeted. Um, yeah, I don't know what's, behind, as I said before, that it looks stagnant, the money that we're getting from liquid fuels from the state
Right.
for a bunch of years, which is kind of sad. But, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what that's,
Well, I was told,
not as much gas being sold. I don't know. People are working from
well,
home. I
a
don't know. I
lot
don't know
more
what's
electric vehicles they don't
electric
use.
vehicles. Exactly. There's a lot of pieces because that used
Yeah.
to like, go up every year. And I'm looking at, the last couple of years. Um, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
350,000 out of general fund, that's a lot of money out of general fund, but they're
That's
trying
one
to keep
mil.
up with the paving. I'm guessing that's what's behind that. Like, you're saying that there's, a shortfall on the paving
Yeah.
and, as it is. So they're trying to, I don't know.
Well, I'm not telling them to take more money out of the general fund. I'm telling them to not spend so much money on some other things and maybe put it into road paving that shows
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
something tangible that the residents can see where their money is going.
yep,
You
yep.
know,
And I'm looking at capital, I'm guessing is that capital should be where,
I
The
don't want to
police
see,
cars. Police
yeah.
cars are like, they cost so much more money too. There's just so many different things.
Yeah, now they
That
got,
are so much more expensive than they were years ago. I'm looking at this. Wow, police equipment, 444,105 in the, wow. I guess there's more to that than the police cars, I'm thinking. I'm not
well,
sure.
yeah, they want radios, they
Yeah,
want tasers. I mean, what the hell are they gonna do with these tasers? I mean, everybody has to have a taser? What are they gonna?
they're replacing, I think that, over the time I was there, they were replacing them. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, like, once again, this doesn't really show you all the detail as the other person. I'm not sure which person said it. It's
Charlie.
not much detail here. Yeah, you have a lot of questions to ask. I don't know.
All right, well, that's my job, to ask questions, so
Yeah.
thanks for all the input. It's getting on after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Dave, I just wanted to say that you're looking for some money for the water, and I was told that that would be in the budget, but it's not specifically laid out in the budget.
It looks
And
like it's coming from the other park improvements line.
you think so?
That's what Ellen let me know. So
Okay.
there was like
Well,
$22,000 allocated to other park improvements, and supposedly it's going to come out of that.
oh,
Is it
it's just
is it general fund? Is that general fund? Is it
no, it's
Parks and Rec.
Parks
in the
and Rec.
recreation um
So I
capital?
just have to clarify that, right? At the
Yes,
meeting.
yes, but
The rec capital? Is it in rec capital? Park improvements, I see. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, so that's a detail that should, I think, be in there, don't you think? That it should specify.
I would think so. Yeah, but and again, when I sent that follow-up email, Ellen said that it was in that $22,000 earmarked in there.
Well, it's better to get it in black and white than some
Very
kind
true.
of
Than
some
them being
kind
able
of,
to move it.
yeah, that's my opinion. Anyway, I'll be sure to ask about that too.
Gotcha.
Um,
So just to confirm, the next board meeting supervisors is a week from Wednesday, right? The 12th?
that's right.
Okay.
Second and fourth Wednesdays.
Yep. I don't know I don't think there's going to be one at the 24th
Mhm.
because of Thanksgiving, right?
Thanksgiving, yep.
So
26, yeah, 26.
the first time that we can make a decision on the budget would be in December, the first meeting in December, which I don't have the date right now. Okay, guys, I want to thank everybody. Unless there's any real thing and more questions, I'm going to see if I can call this meeting to a close. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you,
Thank-
John.
Thanks for doing it. Yeah, thank you for doing it.
And
Okay.
in terms of your rolling off the Board of Supervisors, I certainly hope that you continue your emails, blog, and you do podcasts. They're very valuable, and I know I appreciate it, and I know other people that do too.
Well, thank you. That's what I'm going to try to do. I am not going to, um, I'm not going to do Meet Mack Monday because this was basically for me to get input from residents that I could use while I'm a supervisor. Since I won't be a supervisor,
Mhm.
I don't need to do interactions like this with residents, but I can keep residents informed through
Yep.
the newsletter, email, and stuff like that. So I'll be sure to do that. So thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
John. Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you. Yeah, have a good
Good
night.
night.
Be sure to
Good night.
vote tomorrow if you haven't done
Yes.
already.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good night.
Take care now.
Bye.